Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and this is Garden of Mirth. Today I'm going to walk you through how to build a 30-minute fruit tree guild. That not only is this going to be pretty and just make my orchard a more enjoyable place to be in, but if it has the possibility to increase my fruit production, it's worth my time, especially one that only takes 30 minutes. A fruit tree guild is a permaculture concept that's built around the idea of making a miniature ecosystem where every plant works together to support a central tree or central plant. Today, my central plant is my apple tree, and I'll be choosing 5 or 6 different types of plants that will all benefit my fruit tree in the long run. Some of these will be annuals, some will be perennials, but they will all serve a function to produce more fruit for me in the future. For example, we're going to have a suppressor plant. This will work to push out weeds by making a living mulch. We will also have mulching plants where you can chop and drop the leaves and they will decompose and not only feed the soil, but they'll also become another form of mulch. We will also have an accumulator plant. These are plants that pull up nutrients from deep down within the soil that are outside of a new fruit tree's reach. The accumulator plants help bring those nutrients up to the level that the fruit tree can access. Right now, this is just a 3-year-old fruit tree, and its root system is going to be much more immature than, say, this pear tree right beside me that is at least over 50 years old. Another type of plant that we will need is called an attractor. These are any kind of flowering plant that attract those beneficial insects or pollinators that will help not only deter other pests, but will support better pollination and more fruit from your fruit tree. Another type of plant that we will need is a nitrogen fixing plant. This could be any kind of legume like a bean or pea, or it could be something like comfrey. These are plants that fix nitrogen within their roots and make it more available to the plants around them. Typically, this process happens after that plant has died back. For example, today we're going to be using cowpeas. At the end of the season, I'll cut those cowpeas off at the soil level instead of pulling them out. This way, the nitrogen that they have fixed in the soil can be released back and will be available for the other plants around them. The last kind of plant that we will need is a plant that repels other kinds of insects, bacteria, fungus, or pests such as deer or rabbit. This could be things like chives and garlic and rosemary, herbs that are very smelly and that we enjoy, but pests don't. There's also certain types of plants that help combat fungal and bacterial issues that may affect your fruit tree. All of those will work together to support more fruit production for you. So let's grab our plants and start building this fruit tree guild. I'm here in my strawberry and asparagus patch to get some strawberry runners. This will be our suppressor for our fruit tree guild. These are all runners coming from my main plants. So I'm going to go ahead and snip off a few of these runners and take them with us. It'll also serve as a snack. If you're not familiar with strawberries, they send off these runners, and where they touch, they will root and start a new plant. So this is a runner from a mother plant, and I'm going to take it with us for the fruit tree guild. Here is a good example of one that I just snipped, and you can see here, if it'll focus, the roots. You can see here the roots that will start to go down to the ground to make a new plant off of a runner. This is one that I just snipped that had already made contact with the ground and put out roots. As you can see, there are a few weeds here and there in the strawberry patch, but for the most part, it's asparagus and strawberries. They do a great job of providing a ground cover. This patch is in its 3rd year. We started out with 25 plants, and we have well over 200 or 300 at this point, where they just continue to put out runners and spread. Okay, so here are our ingredients for the fruit tree guild. I've got my cardboard that I'm going to use to sheet mulch around our apple tree. I have some yarrow, hosta, rosemary, marigold, lemongrass, sunflowers, cowpeas, strawberries, and canna lilies. I have just some recycled cardboard here that I'm going to put all around the base of my tree in whatever shape I want to make my guild. I'm going to do probably more of a round or oval shape just so I can fit my plants in the area I have it. The grooves of your cardboard will allow light in and grass or weeds will grow. So we're going to make sure that we cover up any cracks in our cardboard to make a thick layer. Once you have your cardboard laid out the way you want it with no gaps, we're going to add compost. Found some little grubs in my compost, so looks like the chickens are getting a treat after all. After you've applied your compost and covered your cardboard, you're going to start planting in those plants that we talked about. Now you'll notice I have a little bit of cardboard sticking out. I'm going to mulch this with some hay, just like I do in my garden. So all of that will be covered, and that cardboard will just serve to help suppress weeds, but also it will break down into the soil as it gets wet. This compost is extremely wet because we've had a lot of rain. So I'm not worried about wetting that down to help it break down. That'll happen soon enough. So I'm going to go ahead and start planting out my fruit tree guild. The first thing that I'm going to plant out are my strawberry runners. So you can kind of think as these little runner pieces that I have left as an anchor, and we're going to plant it right here where I showed you roots forming on that other runner. Just like this. I'm going to go with these closest to the fruit tree because they have pretty shallow roots and they will just continue to vine out and cover my entire guild. The next plant that I'm going to plant is yarrow. This will work not only as an attractor to bring in those pollinators for these gorgeous white flowers, but it also works as an accumulator. So yarrow will pull up nutrients from deep down within the soil and make it available to the fruit tree. The other attractors that I'm planting are canna lily bulbs, some miniature sunflowers, and some zinnias. For my repellents, I'm using some rosemary and some marigold. I also have this lemongrass. If I find a spot for it, it'll also work as a repellent. I decided to throw in this hosta for a mulcher plant. So a hosta of course, will continue to get bigger. You can divide it, but you can also chop and drop the leaves. The final component I'm going to add are these cowpeas. I'm planting these not really for the cowpea itself. I'm not really hoping to harvest this. If I do, that's an added benefit. The point of putting these cowpeas in here is for nitrogen fixing. Cowpeas fix nitrogen in their roots, so when the cowpeas are done, instead of pulling them out, I'll just cut the plant off at the soil level, leaving the roots in. They will release the nitrogen back to the soil, helping to improve the soil. So if we harvest cowpeas, great. It's an added benefit. The main purpose of these is to be a nitrogen fixer. So I'm just going to dot these through where I have open spaces. You'll notice that the planting is pretty tight. There's a reason for that though. A lot of these plants are annuals, meaning they will not come back. While my perennials are still relatively small, it won't really matter. My perennials in this bed are my strawberry plants, my yarrow, and then hosta. The rest of this stuff probably won't come back in my zone. That is highly dependent on where you live. There's a chance that the rosemary will. That's kind of iffy. But for the most part, the cannas, strawberries, yarrow, and the hostas are all that's going to come back. So the rest of this stuff that I have put through here will be pretty this year. It'll fill this bed out. It'll be useful in the terms of the lemongrass and the rosemary, but it's not something that's going to come back and crowd everything out later on. So I'm going to add in my cowpeas, we'll mulch, and this will be done. So here is a look at my fruit tree guild before mulch. We have our lemongrass, zinnias, strawberries, marigold, rosemary, hosta, cowpeas, and dwarf sunflowers. Right on time with the sunset. Our fruit tree guild is done. 30 minutes, super simple process, and we have a mini ecosystem to support our fruit tree. Now I will go back in and mulch more heavily once things have sprouted, like the cowpeas and the canna lilies, and I'll give the strawberries a chance to come up over that that hay. And then I'll come through and mulch more heavily to suppress weeds. But for right now, I don't know how well it's showing up, but everything has access to sunlight. I've left little holes where I have things planted. So here is our quick 30-minute fruit tree guild. Alright guys, there you have it, a 30-minute fruit tree guild that anybody can make to support their fruit trees for the maximum yield. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like our video and subscribe to our channel. That is the #1 way that you can help us grow. Until next time, you can catch us on the blog, gardenofmirth.com, and learn all about from-scratch cooking, gardening, creating a cozy home, and more. Until the next video, bye friends.